in their faiths really tightly. Another note is that we talk about the freedom of expression, but there's no free exercise of religion in France, especially for Muslims. So these are core principles, I think, that can be eliminated from the discourse.
Brigitte, is that true?
Absolutely not true. I mean, look, there are so many different people from different cultures and different religions that immigrate to France and to different countries around the world. How come they assimilate? I mean, I can tell you from my own country of Lebanon, millions of people fled and they settled in France and they assimilated into French culture. French culture is open-minded. They are tolerant just like any other Western culture. The problem is with Islamic immigration, no matter where they go, whether Australia, America, Canada, Europe, they are not assimilating, and to the contrary, the second generation is even becoming more radical than the first generation. So this is a problem coming from the Islamic culture itself and their ideology, and has nothing to do with the nonsense Islamophobia that Arab pundits come on television and give us. And it's time to throw political correctness in the garbage where it belongs and start calling a spade a spade.
Khaled, when you speak with French people, and I know some French people, they say it is not as you say. They say that they would love to see these Muslims integrate into the community, but that they don't want to, that they want to hold on to, that their lives are all about being Muslim. They don't understand why they want to even live in Paris, France, when they don't seem to want to partake in the culture at all.
Well, how do you explain the first victim of the attack, right? Ahmed Murabat, a policeman, an everyday citizen. You know, how do you explain Mustafa Arad, who was an editor with the magazine?
Well, we're not talking about all Muslims. We're not talking about, I don't think anybody's talking about all Muslims. We're talking about, there are these pockets around Paris, France, where the Muslim groups tend to live, and they don't live in France proper, and they don't integrate and assimilate with the other French.
Well, much of that is structural, right? And what you're talking about are called the banlieues. These are ghettos that are on the outskirts of French cities. These individuals are utterly segregated from urban spaces, from cosmopolitan centers. So it's much of it is the French model of building these essentially distant and alienated ghettos that don't give immigrants, not only Muslims. Also note that anti-Semitism in France is really strong. Anti-Roma sentiment in France is really strong. Anti-Asian sentiment in France is really strong. Anti-Hindu sentiment in France is really strong. So I don't want to, exceptionalize anti-Muslim animus.
And yet, there are pockets of those groups that wind up killing people for cartoons. I'll take the last word on that one.
Was that a question?
I mean, there's something about the Muslim groups in France and elsewhere that makes them do it.
Muslim groups in France, Megan, there are 751 no-go zones. 751 no-go zones in France where 5 million Muslims live. 5 million Muslims, no other religious. Why? How come everybody else is assimilating and they are not assimilating?
Right.
And by the way, we're having these zones pop up in the United States as well.
Panel, great debate.